Alright, so I've started recording now. Then I'll share my screen. Uh, okay, where is still video? Alright, thank you. Okay, okay, sir. Um, okay. Uh, so, before we begin, before we even do any practice, I wanted to lay foundation because this is the most important skill when it comes. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So I wanted to lay a foundation with this first slide. This is the most important skill that you need, um, irrespective of the AI tool you want to use, irrespective of the task you want to achieve, whether you want to use AI for research, whether you want to use AI for video generation, image generation. This is the most important skill. There are two of them, but this is the first, prompt engineering. So I tailored it to um, the use case for academic work, but the same principles apply to any use case at all. So AI is a nearly free co-pilot. So it's a nearly free high level academic co-pilot. So it helps you with time poor precision oriented. It helps time poor precision oriented clinicians that require tools that yield an exponential return on investment. So instead of dealing with academic and administrative bodies, AI gives you a level of leverage to work it out. So the actual problem, because there's a problem, there's a solution, and there's the ultimate goal. The actual problem is that the modern consultant is overwhelmed by whether administrative tasks, you're preparing lecture notes to teach, you're preparing the ones to teach residents, and because you still have SOD to work with for your own unique case. Then the solution is that AI is not just a software, it's a highly capable, intelligent assistant capable of executing complex academic directives. So the goal of this lesson is to master prompt engineering because it will allow you to reclaim hours of clinical time without sacrificing academic reading. So it's prompt engineering that will let you understand that to use AI is actually not like a magic wand that works things out. There is the human component that you have to actually use a very high level of critical thinking to be able to make the most of artificial intelligence. So the the main shift in using AI is a mindset shift because the first piece of this kind of technology that came out was the search engine, which everyone is used to. So when you want to use Google, because you know that Google, you don't need to type the complete thing to use Google. So you can come to Google and type, say, maybe um, define, um, which term will I use now? Define otitis media. Google will give you multiple websites, cite multiple websites for you to choose from. But AI needs context. So if you give it that same one word query, it will give you generic information. But if you're able to tailor your query to your needs, you will get the kind of answer that you need. So if you search Google and use one word query, you get generic results. If you direct AI and provide contextual architecture and demand precise formatting, you treat the AI system like a highly capable but context-blind clinical intern. So it's like a a baby that has access to all the information in the world, but you need to tell it exactly what you want for it to give you what you want. So this is now like I said, this is the mind shift, but this is the um, process. So at the beginner level, you need to identify what exactly you want to achieve with the AI tool. So the focus here is gross movement, establishing basic mechanisms of instruction and content. That's you need to know what you want to do. Then once you're able to achieve the task, once you're able to identify the task you want to achieve and you put it into AI, the higher level now is what format do you want? I'll still go deeper into it anyway. What format do you want it to give you that information at? For example, if you're preparing a report, you can tell it to give you the output as Word document. You can tell it to tabulate the information. So that's format. Persona here talks about who do you want the AI to act as when giving you the information. Because if you tell AI define otitis media, you want it to define it as a medical student, define it as a consultant, define it for exam purposes. So this persona and format. So persona here, you want to define it as a consultant, tells you who should the AI be speaking as. Then the advanced level involves a fine tuning. Let's say you're preparing a slide on the same otitis media. So here now talks about audience, tone, examples, and strict constraints. So if the audience you are teaching now is say residents, then the way AI will craft it. If you are teaching medical students, say first year medical students, second year medical students, final year medical students, the tone and audience will shift based on this context now that you've shifted in the kind of information that you're looking for. So if we go down to practice, so I said step one is to define your instruction. So this is an example of a prompt. So use so this kind of prompt you say create a clinical like if you want to do like create a clinical research strategy or draft a patient education brochure. So this is the task, the first part of the sentence. Create a clinical research strategy. Let's say you want to explore a particular topic and know the kind of research that has been done on it, research that has not been done on it. This is just step one. Then step two, now say what is the context? So provide the who, the what, and the where. So let's say you have to specify the patient demographic, the geographic location and clinical setting for this patient education brochure. If you want to start preparing materials for maybe an ENT medical outreach. So draft a patient education brochure. If you want to add this step to, you now say patient education brochure targeting Nigerian patients aged between say 18 to 50 or 18 to 60 in an outpatient setting in a maybe rural area. This is the step one and step two of the sentence put together. Then this draws back again. There's the weak approach. So if you're doing research now, write a paper on sinusitis or check out the study that has been done on sinusitis. But this is a better engineered prompt. So it says draft an abstract. So this is the clear instruction for a retrospective study on. So this is the topic, specific clinical target. Then at a tertiary center in Nigeria over the last 5 years. So this is a complete prompt now that you can use to give you an overview of the studies that have already been done that are referenced on the internet. So you can use this now to pull preliminaries of studies that you want to do that you've not yet done. Even research areas that you're trying to explore that you've not yet dabbled into. You can use this format of prompt to actually check out several topics and pull information to at least now make a decision on the one that you want to do. Then, like I was talking about the higher levels. So when you've defined the instruction, you've defined the context. That's step one. You define the instruction, you define the context. Step three is now a little extra. So the format and structure, like I said, is it giving it as Word document? Is it giving it as, so you see down here, they dictate exactly how the information must be presented, shape the raw data. He's still talking about research, research topic. Then persona, like I said, so he said assign the AI a professional identity and primes the neural weight. So he's saying that AI has many personalities that it can be. So where this persona part makes a lot of sense, even beyond research, is where you're studying something that is outside your field. When you're studying something that is outside your field, say maybe you're dabbling into, you want to understand something in law, you want to understand something in a very high advanced physics, and you don't want them to just use the jargon. You can tell AI, explain this topic to me like a 2 year. Explain this topic to me like someone that is not part of the field. So this gives a level of context to the kind of tone, because persona will affect tone. Persona and role will also affect tone. So the formatting dictates the exact delivery mechanism for any kind of clinical data. We'll dive more into this when we start doing the actual research. And my focus for now is just prompt engineering. So you see, injecting a professional persona will instantly elevate the academic career. So, for example, you're doing a publication work, you say act as a lead editor for the Journal of Laryngology and Nephrology. So, in that conversation, now the AI is acting like a fellow ENT person that is doing publication. Or this one now is tell you to act as a mentor. Let's say you're writing an academic paper or you're trying to proofread an academic paper. The persona here will be as a senior career coach specializing in medical academic advancement. So it's acting like a senior, a prof that has published papers across several fields. So the impact is that AI will abandon layperson terminology and adopt precise scrutinizing lens of your actual peer. So it does that hat of whoever you set as the persona. So the other parts, the audience. So this it goes higher. Not all these things must be in every prompt, but as you begin to look for precision in the kind of output that you want, you need to add a layer of some of these things. So if we want to still go back to say step one, the task, to write a let me still use this patient education brochure. Prepare a patient education brochure. You said the target audience is Nigerians in rural area, outpatient setting. We'll go to step three. We'll go to step three. Um, the format. Output this as text that can be used for design. Let's say persona. They may not really need a persona per se, or you can say draft this as a graphic designer or as a master copywriter. Then if we now want to add another layer or step 5. Of course, we already put the audience anyway in around step 3. So the audience is still the elderly people, the middle-aged people that will come to the outreach. Then the benchmark here, examples here talks about if you have materials that already look like the kind of work you want to create, you can still add. So if there are pictures of the kind of flyer, you add it as part of the context. If there's a tone of voice, let's say maybe you not tell it use Nigerian language and pidgin to spice up the flyer. Then constraint if there's something that you don't want to see in your output. So this is if these 8 things are at the back of your mind whenever you're creating a prompt for anything. Not all must be present, but each of them has their role to play in fine-tuning the work. You will have better AI output. You have better AI output. So you see, calibrating the audience and tone shifts the output's clinical complexity. So if you are preparing a slide and say this is for junior residents with limited surgical experience, it will fine-tune it. Tell the tone. Use a motivating strategic tone that encourages action while maintaining high professional standards. So, or the audience, let's say you are preparing a paper for part two or um for professors to preview, PhD people to preview. So this is for a panel of international peer reviewers. So it uses that very rigorous academic term. Use a highly critical, objective, and evidence-based tone, anticipating methodological scrutiny. So you now see this, rule out that. It's not be using all those technical terms that make sure that you covered your bases when you were reading your research work. Then setting strict constraints acts as a surgical guardrail against generic output. So if the output you want to get has been created before, giving an example tells AI that this is the kind of thing I'm expecting it to give me. Now use this example that I gave to um, in the context of what I'm asking you. Use my own context now. So you can see your example forms a sort of wall against generic work. So the anatomy of a publication ready prompt. So this is now if you want to, this is a master prompt. It says act as a lead editor for Journal of Laryngology and Ecology, draft an abstract for a retrospective study of pediatric sinusitis outcomes at tertiary center in Nigeria. Present this as a structured academic abstract, background methods, results, conclusion. This is for a panel of international peer reviewed peer reviewers. Use an objective, highly academic tone. Reference successful structuring similar to recent landmark FESS scores and outcome papers. Must include specific p-values. Avoid all generic concluding statements about further research being needed. So you see that all the factors are here. The persona, lead editor, the instruction, draft and abstract, the context is pediatric sinusitis. The format is as a structured academic abstract. The constraints here talks about let's say reference successful um, structure structure similar to recent landmark. So giving a constraint. The audience, of course, a group of international peer reviewers. The tone, it says avoid anything that's talking about we need further research, we need further research. So this is like a master prompt if you want to achieve this kind of thing. So okay, I just will repeat these ones in practical. We'll repeat these ones practical. So this is the first phase for prompt engineering. So sir, I don't know if you have any questions before I continue. So we can do a bit of practice. Then we'll now go into research proper. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. I'm no longer hearing you. Like I hear you when you say, "Can you hear me?" But I can't hear anything else after that. Yes, sir, I can hear you. Can hear you. Yes, sir, I can hear you. I can hear you. Very clear. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes, yes. It's very possible. It's very possible. So there's the workflow I use for AI research is such that personally you will leave the like of course it's possible to use AI do deep dive research work. But what usually is the problem is that if you do the one prompt method and AI pulls out the whole thing, you will not really interact with the material as well as if it's a hand in hand approach. So I'll show you it's a three-part framework. I'll show you the three-part framework that I use for anything research that reduces hallucination because one of the big problems of research, which is why I like this method I use, is that if you use that one prompt method, AI has a bit of a problem with being 100% every single time. So it can look good, it can talk good, but sometimes it will reference something that is not exactly specific to what you're asking it to do. So this method reduces that hallucination to the very bare minimum. To the very, very bare minimum. So let me share that one and then let's dive into it. So this is the slide. This is the slide. So it's grounded in it's an ethical, efficient, and rigorous workflow. So it's still similar to you are writing the work, but difference now is that some of those extra work, for example, now one of the parts of um, one of the parts of research that is very stressful is literature review. Having to begin to read through the material, try to understand. But you realize that oftentimes there are even gaps that you, because you're human, you only see what you want to see. There are some correlations that you may not see because you are limited to the specific topic and things that you want to focus on. But the tools we're going to use will open you up to possibilities of different possibilities of different perspectives, even in the same research work. So let's dive in. Okay, so I won't do a lot of preamble. Um, so, like I said, AI will act as your co-pilot. So the same way you hold your scalpel, then you see AI as your scalpel. You are still the one in charge, not AI on autopilot without human intervention. Because the goal of research is that even you that are human, you interact with the material enough to extract the relevant applications to um, to the target audience or to whatever the outcome was while creating the research in the first place. Because once if AI just creates the stuff and we are all posting, then that's defeated the goal. Then using the same principles from the anatomy of the prompt that I just explained, there is now prompting frameworks that makes the AI workflow quite easy. So this one is called the input process output framework. We do it all the time. So it's actually very straightforward. That you have an input, maybe a PDF, maybe your research work, maybe you have an input already. Then you want AI to do something to it. And you tell AI this is how I want it output. That's simply input process output. So let's say, for example, the data analytics aspect of AI. You've already collected your data, you have your Excel sheet, you put it into the AI tool and tell it, this is what I want you to do. And you say this, so here is the surgical outcome data set containing the identified patient recovery metrics. So maybe you are trying to track the role of tracheostomy, maybe plastic versus metal tracheostomy in affecting patient outcome, patient recovery outcome. You collected the data and you're now inputting it. Say analyze, so your prompt, analyze the trends, identify any anomalies, group by severity, severe, mild, moderate, or severe. So depending on context, this process depends on the context of the research. Then I tell it format the findings as a maybe as a tabulate the findings, maybe I'll put it as paragraph, and that becomes for if you want to use this method for it's mostly used for data analysis. But I want to dive to um, this my framework I talked about. So it's three steps. The first step is scoping your literature review, literature review. So there are two websites that actually do they are paid, two paid websites for literature review, Elicit and SciSpace. So just like we have Gemini, Google, ChatGPT, and Claude. So someone took ChatGPT and constrained it specifically for literature review. So I'll just give you an overview of the website. Let's see it very briefly. It's not what I use anyway. I use Gemini with very powerful prompts. But if you want to explore the paid option, this is SciSpace analysis is what you're going to use. So it's still loading. So what they do is that they are grounded in Google Scholar, PubMed, they are grounded in let me share. Yeah. So this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. So it still looks like the normal GPT, but this one now is purely for research. So there's a research agent. You can even use it to find papers that have been written. So you can find papers, you can chat with papers, you can extract data. So the research agent, you can pull systematic reviews. So these are pro, this extract data and systematic review, they are pro features. So this was the one I used when I was having this class with the neurosurgery. Okay, let me pull back that session. Yeah, let's see. So you can use it to find papers on any topic. So you can see, let's look. Use it to find papers on any topic. Okay, okay, so time. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, network. Network. Okay. So this paper we're searching for clinical outcomes of borehole evacuation for subdural hematoma in adult patients in resource limited setting. So these are see different papers that we done. So they say there are 10 sources on this paper. You see the paper name, summary of the findings, patient demographics, surgical technique and procedure that was done, the clinical outcome. So it gives you, instead of having to read, some of them are long research work, some of them are journals. So instead of having to read through every single one, it gives you a brief overview, pulling information. Yes, 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 exactly. 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 So you can now check the links. The links are here. You can now download them for your own literature review so that you can now add them to the research work that you are doing. That's what it's, yes. So if I want this paper now, if this paper aligns with what I'm doing, I can go to the VOI um, link and go and take it. So I'm viewing the article. Now let it load, then I'll share the list. So this is the article. That's that first article. This is this is the first research work. So if I now want it, this is PDF and download it straight up. So this is PDF for me. I can download it and then use it for my research work, pull the citation and everything else. So the the free features of this site, the fringe features, this particular one I can have access to. So you can simply search for whatever kind of paper you can search for it. So it's one of the powers is that it helps you even talk. So just maybe give me a topic, something you're working on. Let's fine tune here and see what has been done. Okay, 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 okay. So let's to evaluate the strength of our question. So it's a good research question. So consider adding these elements. So it's not saying these are this was what we wrote. So it's not asking do we want this? How does the prevalence of self-reported hearing loss compare to medically confirmed hearing loss? So this one is even better than the one that then if there's a specific outcome that you want, say what is the agreement between self-reported hearing loss and audiometric hearing loss measurements in patients with sickle cell disease? What factors explain discordance between these measures? This is another one. Then population characteristics among adults with sickle cell disease. How does the accuracy? So this one focuses on clarity. This one focuses on the outcome. This one focuses on population, depending on what the emphasis of the research is. Let's go with clarity and send. So let's see papers that have been done. Okay. So this is about 10 sources, 10 papers have been done. So it says the provided sources do not directly compare self-reported hearing loss to genetically confirmed hearing loss. They focus exclusively on genetically confirmed hearing loss using objective testing methods. These are the rates of audiometric prevalence rates in SCD patients vary considerably. So, so to answer your specific question, you need sources that assess directly both measurement approaches in the same SCD population. So none of these papers uh, actually directly assess this question. These are studies on sickle cell disease patients with hearing loss, but it didn't really directly affect you. So it has already shown you a gap in the research before you even started reading all the actual. But in a traditional method now, you would have started reading all these papers one by one. So, but if I want to still do a deeper dive now with only this topic, that's where my other workflow now comes from. So if I take this question now, I now have a different workflow. So that stuff we did for um, prompt engineering, where I use it is now Gemini. I use Gemini for literature review. So let me share. But I don't create the prompt myself. There's a hack when it comes to creating prompts, and that is it's called prompt to prompt. So you tell AI to create prompt for you that you use. So this is the first step of my own workflow. Yes, with the topic that you want to do research on. So remember, we said that to do anything at all with AI, you define your task, you define the context, you define the output that we want. So we are now using that topic to tell AI to give us a comprehensive prompt in line with the topic that we want. So if I want to do this now, I'll say I want to, in plain language, to um, search out relevant research on the topic. Uh, I'll paste that this in a copy. How does prevalence of self-reported this thing? So I'll put it in brackets. It will be a bit long, but you will see the outcome now. So I want to search a relevant research on the topic. It is for literature search. Now, what this is my task and the context of my task. So I now want to tell you the output I want. Output as a master prompt for searching out research articles in downloadable PDF format relevant within 10 years. So this is my own prompt now, and I'll now enter. So it will now give me the prompt I will use to search. So see the master prompt. Uh, okay. It's not giving me what I want. I think I missed something. No, it's not giving me what I want. I need to tweak the prompt a bit. It's giving me what I will take to Google Scholar to search. It's giving me what I go to Google Scholar to search, but that's not what I want. Okay, let me tweak the prompt a bit. Um, okay, let me give it a yes, 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 yes. As long as you know what you are looking for, you can do it. As long as you know the at least those basic statistical terms, you may not know the deep those basic statistical terms, you know that oh, I want to do mean of this and this. In fact, if you don't even know, sometimes like there's this client I have that I do his poster presentations for him. So he sends me abstract the research work result and everything and tells me to do it. He doesn't know which of the diagrams to use to do the poster and all of that. I just take everything to AI, tell it I want to create poster presentation, this is the format, tell me the most relevant statistical information here. It will tell me. And I tell it, give me a prompt to create this thing. So if it says it's a bar chart, tell me the prompt for the bar chart. If it says it's a pie chart, tell me the particular table in the result. Once it tells you, I tell it, okay, create it. It will create that bar chart, create that pie chart with the information. Then when I'm done, I'll tell it, proofread this your output. Make sure it tallies with what is in the source document. It will check. If it made mistake, it will tell me, oh, there's an error here. There's an error. Once I do it once, twice, I've trained the AI to be doing that kind of research, that kind of analysis for me. So that's what I. As long as you have your data, you can create anything at all. Okay, let me tweak this prompt literature review output as a master prompt that I execute. No, just this is the free version. This is still the free version. This is still the free version. So let me see. This is what I was looking for. So this is the prompt now. It now say you are an expert academic research assistant specializing in hematology, neurology, and what's going on? To synthesize and critically appraise available medical literature to address this. Let me copy the full prompt and take it somewhere that we can read it better. Uh, so let me share. So this is the prompt. You are an expert academic research assistant specializing in hematology, neurology, and clinical epidemiology. Your task is to generate a comprehensive, highly structured literature review draft analyzing clinical discrepancy between self-reported and genetically confirmed hearing loss in patients with sickle cell disease. The research objective, the key clinical features to integrate, the instructions on document structure. So this prompt now is telling it to generate a literature review. I can still tweak it to tell it to do a literature search, just a literature search. Give me links to download the research that has been done. But this one now tells you to do a literature review and still give you references. This one now, you may not be publishing it, but to at least get a feel of what has been done so fine. So it says generate the literature review using the following framework, give it a title, create an abstract, introduction and pathophysiology, establish the body, detail the microvascular mechanisms, see the comparative prevalence metric. So this prompt now is how long, it's very detailed. You can go to each part of it and tweak it to suit what you want. Then you will now take the prompt. Well, because this prompt is still the instruction, we've still not done the work. When you now take the prompt and take it back to that same Gemini and I tell it to execute that prompt, it will now do this whole work and give you what you're looking for. So this is phase one. This is phase one. So phase two now is the tricky part. It handles both the writing and that comparison aspect that I was talking about now. If you now want to, if you finish downloading all those PDFs, let's say Elicit gave us something very good now. I'll finish downloading um we'll finish downloading all these PDFs and we want to start the research writing proper. There are many tools for research writing. There's one, Jenny AI, but let me open it. Jenny AI. It's that one is very direct, but it still gives you that same problem of having to rewrite it with another AI tool to prevent AI detection and all of that. So Gen AI use the tool. Gen AI is not free. It has a very small free part, but it's not free at all. You can barely write a paragraph before they tell you to pay. So it's $12 per month for the annual plan. But if you pay monthly, it's $30 per month. So you can upload as many PDFs as you want. You can set your reference in Vancouver, whatever referencing you want to use. That's what Jenny AI does. But I don't use Jenny AI. I use another one called Notebook LM. So this is the second part. Let me show you. This is the second part. So this is the two Notebook LM. It has a phone app. Then this is the website form. So this was the app I used to write that book draft I sent you. So what notebook? Yes, notebook LM. This is what I use. All right. So let's dive in. Let's dive in. So notebook LM is like a tight box. The same way like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude, they are trained with a lot of data. Like even this Gemini we use now is trained with a lot of data. So if I decide to use Gemini to do my research writing, there's a chance that things that are not in my references will trickle into my research work. So what Notebook LM does is that it gives you your main playground to choose the sources that the AI will use. So anything that you don't give AI, it will not pull the information. So it dodges AI detection because the actual words it uses are not necessarily AI generated. They are grounded in that information. So if you notice that book that I wrote, that book draft I wrote, it was using your exact words. It was sounding more like you were speaking than you were writing because the information I used was direct transcript from audio messages. So you see that at some point you say, "Can you hear me?" You know, it put some of those personal inflections in speaking because the AI is grounded only in what I give it. So let's see what it looks like. It still looks like the same normal. Um, it still looks like the same normal chatbot, but very very unique. That this left hand side are your sources. So anything that you want to appear in your research work must appear here. So even though it has access to other sources, but it is only grounded in what is here. So that's why step one of the whole this research framework is your literature search. So whether you want to use LC to get the PDFs, to get the journal articles, whether you want to use Gemini to do the literature search and download the article, the ultimate goal is that all the articles will come here. This is now where we do the writing. So if I pull the one that I used for, yeah, this was traumatic brain injury. Yes. So this was the one that we used for the neurosurgeon. These are 5 articles on traumatic brain injury, and their topic was effect of delayed presentation on the outcome of traumatic brain injury in Nigeria. So, so these are the articles that is, let's say in the reference, this is article 1, article 2, article 3, article 4, article 5 that you use. Yes, these articles that I've uploaded after doing my literature search. I've collected the whether PDF. So the wonderful thing about Notebook LM is that when you want to add a source, there are different kinds of sources. You can upload the PDF, you can upload the Word document, you can even put website links. So if there is a website link of an article that is not a downloadable journal, you can put the website link to reference because you can still reference website. So if maybe Wikipedia, those standard, all these organization, I think ONG they like standard definition that have those their websites that define their terminology. You can put the specific link that defines that terminology here while you are still uploading the PDF of whatever other research articles that you want to reference. So the only information that you upload, it's only the information that you upload that they will ground it. But for the free plan, you can upload as much as 50 sources. So inside these 50, whether article, whether PDF, whether that's the maximum of 50 for the free version. So this is like step 2 now. So if I want to write a complete chapter 1 from this work, I can do that. The prompt I have. So the 2 skills now, let me still recap the 2 skills now, whether literature search, whether the actual writing which you're doing, is that prompting, of which you don't really need to do a lot of head cracking to get the prompt. So we'll still use the same method that we used when we wanted to do literature search. Before I start writing, I've already done my literature search. I have the articles I want to use to write chapter 1, but I want AI to write chapter 1 for me. What I'll do is that I'll go back to Gemini and tell it I want to write chapter 1 of my dissertation with the following outline. So if I have, let me just see the generic one, introduction, I have it up there right now. Introduction, statement of study, justification of the study, essay, research questions, and hypothesis. So let me still use this notebook that already has the topic. Let me pull the topic and put it inside this. And then the topic is, so this is the topic. So I've told it my task. I didn't give it a rule. You are a master prompt builder. So this is my task. I want to write chapter 1, give context, then let me now give it the instruct the format that I want it to come. I'll put as a prompt for notebook LM. I have already uploaded my sources. So if you don't want to type this long, there's an AI tool that you can use to dictate. It will convert your words to text and can send. So that's another one. If you do a lot of prompting like this, like very detailed, it can be tiring to be typing like this. So there's an AI. I'll send you the Google Play link, Whisperflow. There's the desktop version, there's the mobile version. So it overlays across all your apps, even notebooks, your normal notes. You can be dictating as long as there's network. Once you finish dictating, it will convert it to text. Then you can edit if there's anyone you did not get because of accent, you can tweak it. That's what I use to send updates to my consultants whenever they tell us to summarize patients. I just take the phone and be reading. So I'm reading it to just be giving whisper flow. Whisper. Whisper flow. So I'll send you the Google Play Store link. I'll send you the Play Store link. So say I've already uploaded my sources. Then I think the extra I add is let's references. So, yes, yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Okay. So let references be in Vancouver style. So this is my context. So now give me the prompt I'll use. So see my prompt. Another master prompt again. You are an expert academic research writer. So it says so this is the prompt now that we use. If I put this prompt now back in that notebook, it will write chapter 1. So let me copy. Let's go back to notebook and share the tab. So let me paste it and send. To this is prompt created. I want to execute it. I don't know why it's not going. Let me see if it's because the prompt is too big. Can't decide. Okay, let me just limit it to chapter 1. Introduction. Let me see if the length of the prompt is too much. Okay, length was too much. So let me just tell you to write only introduction. And I can decide the number of characters. So let's say I want introduction to be about 500 words. I can tell it and edit it. So it will go through. So you see what it does? It only goes through my sources. Like down here now, say 5 sources. So all the information is only gotten from these 5 sources. Then the now start. So introduction, traumatic brain injury, represents critical public health crisis of global proportions. And you can see the reference. You can see it's citing. Yes, it's citing. So see the references down. So if I want to do another one, I can go back to the prompt. I can add a. If I put the prompt again, I'll remove. I'll remove the. I did only introduction, so now let me do statement on the prompt. So as this thing is done now, as this introduction is done, what I can do is go down here and copy, take it to my Microsoft Word or any rewrite I'm using and paste it there. So it uses the exact sentences from here. So ideally, it does not record as AI generated because it was not necessarily generated by AI. It was pulled from an already existing one. So it's like someone is reading a book to someone else, and another person writes. So that's what AI is doing here. So, but this is not even the most powerful part. Sir, this is not even the most powerful use of this. Because this one now is you just want to write. But let's say you are not even ready to write. You just want to really understand what the material is even saying. Beyond the right for me, you can now say identify. Okay, there's one prompt from that's my slide. Let me get it. Let me get it. Let me get it. Uh, okay. Analyze trends, identify anomalies. So let me see. Let me use that. So let me tell it. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Yes. 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 You can. You can. If you still have all the sources from all the materials you use to write it, reference, you can use it to create fresh publication. So what you can do now, since you've already prepared your dissertation, that is already a published article. So what you're doing now is that you're pulling. Okay, is it that you want to turn the dissertation to a journal article? Eh, Yes, yes, you can. Very well, you can. Very, very well, you can. If you upload it here, you can you can rub mind. That's why I'm even headed it now. You can rub mind with material. So you've uploaded it and you speak it plenty times. This is a dissertation on so and so and so. Suggest 4, 5, 6 possible journal articles grounded in this research. It will give you 5 journal ideas, article ideas. Then this notification. It will give you like 5, 6 journal article ideas based on that article that you put up. Then based on the citation that you put up, then if you now want to pursue it, if you have the format that the journal wants, you now take it to this thing now that I did for doing this stuff, and take it to Gemini and now say, I want to create a I want to create a journal article on so and so topic using the so and so format, which is maybe introduction, abstract, uh, and references. You tell it, this is what I want to do. Create a prompt that I will use in Notebook LLM. I have already uploaded my sources. Once you once you generate that prompt from Gemini, you now move it back to um, Notebook LLM and execute it with that your with that your dissertation as the source on the left, what it will now do is that to pick that journal idea, create an article out of it. Your references are already in the dissertation, so you may not need to pull fresh this thing. It's already everything is already inside there. It will generate it for you. You copy it, move it to your Word document, and tweak it how you want, and you're good to go. So the extra I wanted to add was if you still have all the sources that you use to do your dissertation, upload all of them and your dissertation to this notebook area. Then you can tell it to identify other gaps in research in the same dissertation work that can give you idea for other research, even with the same sources. So that's another perspective that from one article, um, you can generate 3, 4, 5 other dissertation work. You've already collected the data. You've already done the research. So from your results, from your demographic, you can able to find gaps in the research that you can use to publish other articles from the same data. Yes, yes, yes. You can do that. So this is the place where all the execution happen. So Gemini is mostly for structure, prompt generation, and that, uh, then getting the article. But once you want to do the writing, once you attach to the material, notebook LM is best way. So the another good thing about notebook LM is each research work has its own notebook. So a notebook made up of sources. So this is one. There are several others here. This is another one. This is another one. This is another one. These are what I'm doing for clients now to do poster presentation. This is another one. This is another one. This is another one. So each article, each work, you will open it or name it properly and start putting sources there. So on the side here now, this is now another set of features beyond writing. If you upload your materials, you can get an audio overview of all your sources discussing. So what AI does is that it's as if there are people now discussing the material, trying to break it down, explain. There's video overview. You can generate slides, like the slides that you use for this presentation now. All of them are generated. You know, I just gave it context and supplied the material, told it that this is for someone that is an ENT surgeon based on the already existing information from my previous prompt engineering class. I told you to tweak it to suit academic context of an ENT surgeon, and that was the slide. So it has many use cases. It's not better than many use cases. Yes, I think so. So notice that the slides right now are not editable. Uh, yeah, so like this for this article now, this was the slide that was created for traumatic brain injury outcome. This was the slide created based on those sources. But they're usually very designy, they're not really that plain one that most panels prefer. Coding windows, their trauma services to prevent severe and this was the one we were able to get. So it gives you a sort of summary of your sources, the things that happen in your sources. So then for data analysis proper, the paid tool is Julius AI. That's we paid two for data. We paid AI two for data analysis. Julius AI. Um, yeah, Julius. It's on the screen now. But it's paid. Paid. Mm. But if you can still do it with your Claude and ChatGPT, but the particular ChatGPT model, because the front end that we see is ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude, but the back end they are called the AI models. So each of these companies, Claude and ChatGPT, they have the back end models, and each model has what it is best at. So the model that they use to build these juniors is still ChatGPT, but it is the ChatGPT called GPT 5.3. So this GPT 5.3 now is paid. So if you have a ChatGPT subscription, you still have access to the same thing that instead of paying for Julius. I don't know. Let me check the price. But then ChatGPT is I think $20 a month. There are vendors that sell login. Like they can be more than one. They can be like five, six, and have a combined subscription. There are some people that also sell logins at more um, discounted prices. So if you can get a vendor, say that collect like 65K a month, to give you access to ChatGPT. If you do a lot of heavy research work, you can be using that ChatGPT instead of getting views because it's still the same ChatGPT that we use to build this one. So someone just took ChatGPT, bought their Pro, then use it to build his own app and now sells it as well. So even Gen AI was also built with ChatGPT and all that. So that's what. But the free version of ChatGPT still allows you to do a bit of that data analysis. Just that, of course, it's limited. So if I want to use ChatGPT now for data analysis, you already have that. Um, you already have that your collected data. You use ChatGPT Plus. But it's not really it's not really But there is also um there's also a website where you can get ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, all for free. They're all in one website. But it doesn't really give there are some customizations that you cannot do. Some of the customizations that you can do for them individually, you will not be able to do it. But when it comes to text, it's unlimited. When it comes to text, it's unlimited. So, sir, if you want to do a lot of heavy data analysis, you may consider getting paid plan. But if it's something that is regimented, there are other ways that you can still get it done. It is not a lot of you're not doing a lot of you're not doing a lot of analysis at the same time. Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Hello, sir. Can you hear me? I think my network. I think my network disappeared. So, sir, when did you stop hearing me? So, okay, yes. So I said the normal ChatGPT can still do analysis, but it's limited because it's a free version. But if you really want to do a lot of heavy analysis, there's this tool that I was using at the beginning of the year. I no longer use it because I'm no longer AI heavy as I was at the beginning of the year. It's $10 a month. It gives you all the popular AI models. Um, yes, all those popular models, whether ChatGPT, like I said, now the front end is that we know is ChatGPT, we know Gemini, we know Claude, but the back end, which is the actual thing, is the models. So ChatGPT now has GPT-5, GPT-4, GPT 5.3. 5.3 is the one that does data analysis. For Claude now, Claude has Sonnet and Opus for writing. So these are models. So what this website does now is that it gives you all the models of all the popular AI, whether for text generation, image generation, video generation. So it gives you all of them. Their basic plan, which is enough if you want to do basic writing and do data analysis, is $10 a month, about 14,000 a month. So, so that's one. Then if you want to use it for if you want to use AI for just text and you don't like the limitations, like you can be using AI to write stuff and at the middle of the flow just say you have used up your free credits, wait till 8 p.m. There's another website that gives the same thing that this $10 thing I mentioned gives, but it's free. But I've not used it for data analysis before. So let me show you this Arena AI. Let me share. Um, let me share this thing. Yeah. Uh, so this is Arena AI. So it's still like ChatGPT, but the difference now is what you have access to. So you can use this top part. Battle mode means I can type something and AI will just automatically detect is it text I want, what is it that I want, and compare two anonymous models for me to choose. Let me test it out. So let's say define varieties media as a profession. Yes, something so this battle mode now will just set up two anonymous AI models that I don't know and generate answers for me. I'll now choose the one I like. So you see, let's do adult lecturing thing. Let us begin with the precise clinical definition. Hepatitis media and inflammation of the mucociliary. So this is one definition. This is another one. So whichever one I prefer, is A better, are both good, are both bad, is B better, whichever one I prefer. But which one do you prefer? This one went straight to defining and classifying. This one gave a bit of dramatic flair. So yeah, so B straight up. So that's when it will now tell me which model. So this was Claude Opus. This is the model that powers Gemini. Why this is DeepSeek. This one is Chinese.
AI model. So I've selected the one that I like, I'll expand, and I'll continue the conversation. So this is what battle mode does. This is what battle mode does. But if I know the model that I want, I will go straight to direct. So it's in direct that you now see all the models. So what do I want to do? Do I want to do text? Do I want to use code? Do I want to generate image? Do I want to do research? All the models that are for this task are here. So you can see Claude, it ranks them. So for text, Claude is number one. Then you see Gemini, you go. So these are different models. These are different models for different things. So for programmer, these are their own different models. Image generation, these are different models. So and it's free. It's free. Yes, it's free. Yes, Arena AI is free. It's free. So choose the model, do what you want to do. Your text, your chat is, but it doesn't have an app, it's a website. So I often prefer to use laptop when I want to use Arena AI. So it's free. So this leaderboard tells you um, for each use case. So see for each use case, what is the best model? So you can see the ranking. So it's actually a ranking website. It's not a proper AI website, but because it's a ranking website, all the AI models, because they want to show their superiority, they gave their models for free to the owner of this website. The owner now made it open to us. So for each time you use it and you upload like this, the battle mode that we just did now. So it means that one point has gone to Claude as a better model than the other one. So for each time someone uses it, they are increasing the reputation of whichever one you voted for. So it's a win-win for you, the user, you get to use it for free, and for the AI models, you get to increase their popularity. So for different uses, you can see the best models for different uses. So this one too, anything writing, anything, and it saves your chat. So if I want to continue this conversation, I'll just come back to continue the conversation. You can also upload different files, PDF, um, you can generate images with it. So, but the image generation and can build apps and websites, they are more limited than the text. The text one does not have doesn't finish. Doesn't finish. So, so this one, but I've not tried data analysis with it. I'll still try. If this one works for data analysis, then I have the full system. You use a notebook LM to do your writing, use this one for data analysis, and you're good to go. You can be turning out papers every 2 weeks. So that's essentially it for research. Yes. So I'll send some a more detailed explainer video for notebook LM, all the use cases, so that it will expand the use case even more than research. I didn't touch some of the features as deep as the video I'll send those videos and then this one so that you can now yes. Mm.
Okay, sir. Alright, sir. So I'll send you the. Yes. You yeah, you don't need to. Mm. And if you still want to do that, there are still tools that you can use. But the notebook element text is directly from the sources. Uh, So the only challenge now can be plagiarism. So in your prompt, so it's all about the prompt. In your prompt, now you can still put a guardrail for dissertation for plagiarism, such that you tell it only source information, only draw information from my sources, but do not write word for word, paraphrase where needed, and you are able to. You can tell it do not pull word for word because it's actually pulled word for word. So in your prompt when you're writing a chapter, you tell it do not pull word for word, paraphrase where necessary, but reference accordingly. So once you're able to tell it this instruction, now you are sure that it's going to give you what you want without plagiarism. Because AI detection is flawed now. It's actually flawed because it is still the normal write-up that is used to do AI training. For example, someone took Nigerian anthem and put it in AI checker and said the anthem was generated by AI. So it's still the normal text that is generated by that they use to train AI. So nowadays, AI detection software no longer know the difference. So it's just up to you because we are doing ethical research. It's up to you to just cover your bases to be sure that everything you are doing in ground. Once you yourself you cover the bases and you are sure that you are ethically in place, even if AI detection software you yourself you know that it is flawed, you can make that argument because you know what you do. So that's the guardrail. And that's why we're using notebook LLM. So if you're using maybe ChatGPT now, the tendency for issues to be there is high. But notebook LLM is ground. Let me save the record.